And we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Soul2Soul. I am Joy Ross, and my co host here is.
Ame-Lia Tamburrini. So great to be here with you, Joy, on winter solstice. I feel like this is a um, auspicious gathering today.
Yeah, we were just saying before we went live here in the Midwest where I am, we're expecting about 14 inches of snow starting tomorrow over the next couple days. So, yeah, should be interesting.
Yeah, and we just got 2 feet here I'm in Victoria in British Columbia and on the island, so this amount of snow is actually pretty rare for us, but it tends to always come right around this time of year, which I love because I love the snow at Christmas. It just is like next level joy.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier today because a part of me wanted to go into complaint mode about the snow, right? I don't even know why because everything I do is at home. I have a home office. Like there's I don't have any external meetings, so it wouldn't really affect me anyway, which is crazy that I wanted to go into complaint mode about it. But then something else kicked in and was like, wait, maybe nature is going to be giving us all an opportunity to just shut it down and
Mm.
sit the heck down. Like, shut it down for a
Yes.
day or two. Like, slow it down.
Yeah.
So I felt that very strongly. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm looking forward to it. Who knows if the snow will show up? But if it does, I'm already mentally in the mode of, yeah, I'm gonna park it by a window and watch it and enjoy it and just chill.
Mm. Ooh, I love that. I love that for this season of winter,
Mhm.
which is like technically starting today. And it's such a good theme to slow down. And we're coming into the holidays. It can be a bit of a frantic,
Mm.
stressful, busy time of year. And I'm just picking up on the sense that a lot of people are where you are and where I'm at too, is just craving the calm, craving shutting things down and breathing and going inward and tapping back into what what are we doing and why?
I'm laughing because I had a feeling you were gonna say that, and that's exactly how I'm feeling, like, which sounds so crazy. What are
What do we
we
do?
doing and why? But those are really awesome and important, I think, questions to ask. Like I was just sharing with you in an earlier conversation, I was having that conversation with myself about an hour ago because there was a project. I won't go into detail, but there was this thing that I could be doing, right? That could cause stress because the person who suggested to me, "Hey, this is a great thing, Joy, that you should do." And I latched on to it because it sounded good in the moment. I was like, wait, do I even want to be doing why am I doing this? Do I
Mm,
want to be doing this? And I couldn't come up with an answer to the why other than one of my coaches made the suggestion. And I said, oh, okay. But I don't think I'm going to because I can't come up with a good why. And I had already said to myself I was going to carve some time out the end of December to just relax and do some things that I need to do for me that have nothing to do with the day to day project stuff, but it's still important. So I think I'm going to honor me.
mm.
And I'm going to start asking that question why? I think a whole lot more because if we don't know why we're doing something, like you said, what are we actually doing? Right?
Yeah. Mm. That's so good, and I just want to interlude here in case we have folks tuning in, either live with us or on the replay, and you're like, "Who are these 2 people, and what are they doing?" But also just to tap into our why. So, yeah, we're here. We decided to start this endeavor, this co-creation together almost 2 months ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Woohoo.
it's amazing. Yes, us.
Yay, it's
Woohoo.
Wednesday. Celebrate
Wednesday.
almost 2 months of Soul to Soul.
That's awesome, right? Oh, I
It
love it, and
is.
we
Happy
just
almost
need
anniversary.
yay, you too. But we were having conversations and, getting a lot out of them for ourselves, and also recognizing this trend in society where people are, nervous, tentative, worried about having certain kinds of conversations and maybe not feeling particularly safe or that that's okay in our world. And we said no to that trend and decided to create this space for us, for you to join us, to have conversations that are on your mind, that are in your heart, and that you want to dive into. So, we talk about all sorts of topics, and I love that we're talking about this topic today. I think we might just continue in this thread, I don't know yet, but because even talking about slowing down or stopping and questioning why we're doing things or saying no to things that some people think we should be doing, is one of those topics that
Mhm.
are not necessarily being talked about in wider circles. So I'm grateful that this is where we're landing for today.
Yeah, I am grateful too, and actually, as you were talking, and it didn't really hit me, how, like, the gravity of asking the question, "Why am I doing this?"
Mm,
until you were just talking, and then I remembered, I think part of what started me on that journey earlier today is I'm reading this book, which is really awesome. It's called The Year of Yes by
ooh,
Shonda Rhimes.
ooh,
Um, I love her. Um, Her shows and everything. She's so creative. I think she's an awesome woman. But in her book, which is very well written, and it's a fast read because she's very punchy in her writing, and it's funny and it's very deep. But she talks about her her why, and, like, the questions, like, she's in this mode, or she was in this mode before writing the book of really questioning, "Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?" So she was talking about motherhood and how she one time was going to some PTA meeting, and the head of the PTA just stood up and very matter of factly was talking about some bake sale that was coming up, and how, "Oh yeah, and by the way, moms, remember that all of your items must be homemade, something that you made at home with you and your child." And in the book, Shonda said that she literally stood up before she even knew it and said out loud, she didn't even realize, she was like, "Oh, did I just say that out loud?" Like a very loud, "What the you know what?" And, and it was kind of funny how she told the story, but then she went on to say how women, um, it's not that we shame each other, we shame ourselves. So, like in motherhood, sometimes, and I don't have kids, but I found this very interesting because I could relate to it just in other areas. This shame that moms put on themselves because they look out and they think all other moms are doing it perfectly, right? They think, "Oh man, what's wrong with me? I don't
mm,
have my, stuff together. Oh, I always feel like I'm failing," or, "Oh, why can't I? Why can't I?" And she said what she realized is nobody has their act perfectly together. And when it looks that way, it's an illusion, you know?
mm,
And then she went on to say, "Hey, when I'm, like, killing it, when you guys see me out there and I'm killing it and my shows are, like, number 1, guess what? That means I'm failing in some other area of my life in that moment," either, like, at
mm,
home or in relationships. I just found that very refreshing, and for some reason, it made me think about, like, why do we shame ourselves?
mm,
Why do we stress ourselves? with the internal talk. Why do we push ourselves and drive ourselves a lot of times to do things that we actually don't even want to be doing?
Mm.
So, like, she decided, to heck with this. I almost used the F word. She actually used the F word in the book, but I won't say it fully, but I kind of just did, right? The F word. But she said she ended up just going to Costco and buying some brownies and was like, here, um,
Mm.
because she's like, I don't have time for this, nor do I have the desire. It's like I'm running 3 shows, top shows on ABC, and I've got scripts to write and rewrite, and I've got 3 daughters and blah blah blah, all these things. No, I will not make homemade brownies. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I don't know what the context was or, like, why it was so important to make the cookies with the kids, but perhaps there was a story about that, like, that's what good moms do, or
Yeah.
that's what we're trying to showcase to the public that, we have this mother-daughter time, whatever that is, and it looks exactly like this, um, and then everybody trying to squeeze themselves into that model of what good moms do. I don't know if that
Mhm,
was the context, but that's what I'm kind of picking up on
mhm,
it, and what I love about the decision that was made was that it feels like it was a decision for self-care,
mm,
self-love, and also in alignment with her particular priorities or the way in which she chooses to live life, which is her choice, you know?
mhm,
And I think, there's just something in there that, personally, I've been working a lot with this year, maybe not so much about the choices I make in terms of externally, but embracing all the parts of me.
mm,
That's kind of how I've been walking this path recently, because I've definitely part of how I have shown up in the world is to put on a brave face and only, showcase, um, a certain way of being, and, um and not really wanting to express publicly or out loud those parts of me that I don't really feel so good about, like,
mhm,
I've got judgment in me, I've got fear, I've got, prejudices, I have all sorts of things within me,
mhm,
and this year, what I'm really stepping into is just creating a new relationship with those parts of me, not shaming them, not packing them down, not, making them disappear, but just
mhm,
saying, "Hey, I see you, and I love you. I'm okay, like, I accept you, and I'm gonna create a new relationship with you so that I can really show up in my integrity in the various ways that I want to in the world." And for me, that is self-loving, just like the example you were just talking about, like, because I'm not trying to shame myself or change myself, I'm simply accepting who I am. Not to give excuse for how I show up in those moments, not at all.
mhm,
I'm here to hold myself accountable, and it does me no good to throw myself under a bus when I see those, and in fact, it helps me just relax a little bit about who I
mhm,
am, and
mm,
bring some light. Bring some light.
mm. I love that, Ame-Lia. That's so deep. I think it's so relevant
Mm,
for right now too, because um the self-love conversation is relevant, and the asking the question why is relevant, because and we talked about this before, especially around the holidays, tends to be a time of year where I think we can have a tendency to get into shoulding ourselves,
mm,
oh, I should, whatever it is, I should decorate my tree Martha Stewart style because that's what, that's what I'm supposed to do. Like a good woman does that, or whatever it is, right? Or I should cook this, or I should, wrap these presents perfectly, or oh man, another, like everything can become extremely stressful because of the should factor. And when we do that, I don't know, I wonder if we're doing ourselves a huge disservice because we're not allowing ourselves to be
Mm.
or even identify with
Yes.
the real us. That's the word,
Yes.
identify with. So
Yeah.
as you were talking, I was thinking, yeah, I love that. And I love that you said it's not in a way of excusing or not taking responsibility for yourself, but just saying, hey, I see you. I see me and I love me.
Mm.
Even though there might be parts of me that I know are a little rough around the edges, right? That I want to smooth out and improve in. But even in that,
Mm.
I'm good with me.
Mm.
And I don't know. I think until and unless we can get there within ourselves, we can't really love other people. We
Mm.
can't really accept other people if we don't truly accept ourselves.
Mm. Mm. Yes, to all of that, and that's bringing up for me what came up in a podcast interview I did yesterday, where we were talking about this whole journey, like this question of "Who are you?" which is a question we love as well, but
Mhm.
for so long, I couldn't answer that question because I never paused to really figure out, "Who am I?" Because I have shown up and I have a tendency to be a bit of a chameleon, like, "Oh, okay." I walk into a room, suss it out, and just paying attention to people's reactions and then
Mhm.
responding to make sure I get the smiles or,
Mhm.
whatever it is. Um, and then, having somebody ask me like, "Oh, what do you wanna do tonight? Do you wanna go see a movie or do you wanna, go for a walk?" "I don't know. What do you wanna do?"
Mm.
That like, all the
Yeah.
time. And
Kinda
such a
like, who do they need me to be, right?
"Who do
It's
you
like,
need
who do
me to
you
be
need
right
me to
now?"
be in this
Yeah.
moment? Okay, I'll be that, right?
Exactly. Exactly, and just really the courage it takes to just pause. For me, this has really been a journey. I don't know if this has been a journey for all women or all people, but just to pause and say, "What do you really want, Ame-Lia? What is your preference in this moment?" And oftentimes, I will come to an, "I don't know. I don't know."
Mm.
Um, and so again, part of my journey this year is to really dive into that and not necessarily in the big, deep ways, but like, "Oh, what do
Mhm.
I want to do in this moment right now? Do I want
Mhm.
to send this email to this person, or do I want
Mhm.
to go for a walk outside?"
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, uh dude, I relate. So,
Mm,
yeah, I don't know if that's all people's experience, but that definitely has been part of my journey too, and not even knowing it.
mm.
My journey was decades of not knowing, but I didn't even know that I didn't know because I
Yes.
was so busy doing all the things, whether it
Mm,
was, "Oh, I'm going hard," on my education and, "Oh, I'm going hard for the master's degree," or "I'm all in and laser focused on, making my mark in corporate America or running my business or whatever." I was so blinders on, and that's not necessarily a bad thing because it did get me it worked, it got me to places, and to things that were important to me at the time, so I'm not poo-pooing that, I'm just admitting that for me, in my quest of all of those things, I wasn't really focusing on me, there was no time to sit and reflect and have be introspective.
mm,
Um, I only knew what I wanted. Like,
mm,
I could sit down and tell you exactly what goals I was trying to achieve. I could have that conversation all day long, but have a conversation about my identity
mm,
and my passions and my dreams beyond just the cookie cutter, get an education and make this amount of money, and that was a whole other thing that, uh, came much later. So I don't know if it's a maturity thing. Maybe it's we reach a
mm,
point in life because maybe in our 20s and in our 30s, we're just in a different flow. I don't know.
What came up for me when you were talking, I've never had this thought before, was it's that transition from a survival mode and not
Mm,
trusting that we are okay into that trust, into a deeper belief spiritually, a deeper knowing that we are always being supported, that doesn't
mm,
matter what choices we make, like we are loved fully. And I think for me, like I'm just thinking about this, I'm so curious about your thoughts, is like maybe when we're in that doing, and doing things to please other people and not really pausing to get to know ourselves and who we are and what our preferences are, it's because we're in survival mode because there's no space for that conversation. But when we can shift and have had accumulated enough life experiences, been able to go deep enough, something internally shifts where we can actually pause and breathe and be like, wait a second, what is important to me? Why am I doing this? Because there's a trust there and a support system that is greater than ourselves.
I cannot help myself right now, but
Yeah,
I have
bring
to.
out your book. Yes,
Wait, let me get this. The
yes, yes.
truth about trust.
Okay.
I absolutely think that you're on to something. I believe in my core.
Mm,
Let me rephrase that. I believe in my core. You are absolutely on to something because that was part of the revelation that I received, the divine revelation. And I think that absolutely when we're in that mode, you called it survival mode. I think it is that, right? Because we're trying to acquire wealth, we're trying to build our finances, get to a certain point in life so that we can feel internally like, okay, at least all right, like I can pay my bills, like I'm not going to be homeless. I'm not, and we're trying to get that taken care of, which is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's like the bottom rung, right? And there's something to that because when we feel that our basic needs are not going to be met, it's hard to focus on anything else, right? Because we are in survival mode. But what I received a revelation on that prompted me in part to write that book, The Truth About Trust, is when we are in that mode, we're totally self reliant,
yeah.
typically. We, whether we're consciously thinking this or not, we are most likely believing that it's all up to us. That if I have to do this, I have to provide for my needs, I have to make my way in life because if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. And for people like me who believe in God, right, and have a firm spiritual foundation at the core, uh, that is something worth really looking inwardly on, right? Because there is something to be said for people who believe in God, um, in trusting Him, right? There is something to be said if you are spiritually inclined to really asking yourself, well, wait, do I actually believe that God is going to take care of me? Do I actually believe that He's working things in the universe to support me? That I'm not out here alone to fend for myself. Do I really believe it? And am I trusting that?
Mm.
So absolutely. And that absolutely plays into, for me at this point in my life, me intentionally being okay, and not just okay, but making it a priority to pull back, pause, and ask myself, wait, why am I doing this?
Mm.
And like checking in on a deeper level.
Yeah. I love that. I feel like for me too, like deepening my relationship with the divine, with the creator, that has allowed for me to be able to ask that question, to sit in it. And I even think, like, you talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Mhm.
Like, if you looked at my financial situation from an outside, like, physical perspective right now, there's
Mhm.
no stability there, and yet I have deep trust.
Mhm.
You know, this would have taken me down. I would have gotten really busy in the doing not so long
Mhm.
ago, and in this moment, I'm able to sit in this and really wait for the sign, for the message, for
Mm.
the thing that really lights up my heart, knowing that that will take me to whatever that wealth is going to be for me. And so it is just like a I don't know, it's a profound transition, and I think it relates to really all aspects of life is when you have that deep grounding, and even thinking about, like, the divisiveness in the world and the capitalism and the materialism,
Mhm.
like, all of that is, I think, and I've said this before in some presentations, that it's more of a spiritual crisis than anything else,
Mhm.
because it's a forgetting that we're not here trying to do everything for ourselves, like you were talking about,
Mhm.
that we're vessels and we're channels and we are always protected and guided. And when we can get to that place,
Yeah, I just cannot help myself with what I'm about to say. But what it really is bringing up for me is it's about making a shift and beginning to live from the inside
oh, yeah.
out, which you guys know is the name of my show, my radio
Yeah.
show and podcast, Living Inside Out. Today, it really is that, because it's to me, living inside out is all about living from a place of being deeply rooted spiritually, because more than anything, we are spiritual creatures having having a human experience. And so when we latch on to that and we allow the spirit part to become the dominant part, then things begin to flip and our processes begin to shift, and it becomes about going inward and saying and when we go inward is when we begin to ask those questions like, well, why am I really doing this? What is my intention? Like, what's underneath my decisions?
Mm.
So that's how I see it, is it's inside out.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
And just I'm gonna say my podcast is Circle of Change, and it's about changing the world from within. So, you know, Joy and I have our own businesses. We have which are actually also very aligned in their
Yeah.
efforts, and then we have our own shows,
Mhm.
which are aligned in this messaging, and we have this co-creation, which is sort of bringing, all of it together in in this beautiful way.
Yeah.
Um,
And we
and
didn't introduce ourselves at the beginning like we sometimes do, but you guys, if you were tuning in for the first time now, you can scroll down and check out some of the previous weeks. We say a little more about ourselves at the beginning. You can also check out either of our websites. Mine is joyross.com, joy with an I. Um, Ame-Lia, what's yours?
yeah,
Humconsulting.ca.
.ca, yep.
Mhm.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh, this is the oh, I'm, like, full body shivers. This whole conversation has really fed me joy, so thank you for
Mhm.
allowing us to go here today, and, I feel like it's such a nourishing conversation for people as they step into this season of reflection and, um, yeah. I don't know. I think this was just perfectly timed, so thank you.
Yeah, I agree. Me too. Thank you. And you guys, I hope, and I speak for both of us. I know Ame-Lia really hope that you got something out of this, the way that we did. That it wasn't just that the two of us sat here and talked and we were enriched, but our desire is that there was something said that encouraged you or made you think, or perhaps just let you know that that little nudge that you've been feeling, that's maybe nudging you to start questioning, well, wait, why do I have to do this or whatever? Maybe we helped you um, gain a little courage, confidence to listen to that voice, and you know, it's okay to say no to things if you don't have a firm why in you. None of us need to should ourselves or let other people should us.
That's right, no shitting on each other,
Right,
never.
no shitting, stop it. I wanna say to everybody, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, I'm probably leaving something out, I don't know, all the things.
Mhm.
Happy holidays, right, in a nutshell.
Yeah, ditto, ditto, and yeah, and leave us messages. Don't if you had some time to reflect on this and something's coming up for you, share with us in the chat. We will respond with this because this is an ongoing conversation, and I really look forward to checking back in. We have one more show this year, yes?
Yeah, we do. We'll be
Okay,
back next
yeah.
Wednesday to wish you guys happy new year and all that jazz. So join us next Wednesday at 1 Central, 11 a.m. Pacific, and what, 2 Eastern, and whatever other time zones you guys know better than we do. Or check out the replay, right? And just let us know. We love your comments. We
Mhm,
love the feedback. So please let us know what you like. Let us know what you want to see as we move forward. If you have a topic you want us to talk about, send it to us, DM us, email
mhm,
us, whatever. However you reach us, right? Comment. What other
mhm.
ways? There's 100 ways.
Yeah,
Just let us
100 ways.
know. Okay, love and
Yeah.
peace, you